Hello and welcome to the DJ Force 10 in Conversation podcast, episode 153, and my very special guest on today's show is Scott from the band Local H. They're a band I've been following for many years, so it's an absolute pleasure to speak to Scott. Managed to catch them live finally a couple of years ago, which we do talk about in the actual interview as well, so I'm not going to spoil that. But yeah, they've got a new album out called Lifers. I stress go check it out. It's a great album. If you like rock and roll, sort of heavy, party kind of like vibing rock and roll, definitely worth a check out. They're a great as a like massive sound for a two-piece band, and yeah, it was a great chat. I really enjoyed it. So please, go check them out. In fact, pause this, stop this, go check them out, come back afterwards, or wait for the interview and listen to that, and then go check them out afterwards. Kind of do it, halfway through. If you're bored of me talking, go play their album. It's fantastic, and they got a great back catalogue, and there's probably some tracks in there you might recognise from years ago. If you're my age, there was a few tracks they had that were very big at the time, and yeah, they're still going, which is fantastic. But yeah, I just want to give a shout out to everyone that's been listening this week. You've not been going unnoticed. Have noticed the nice little statistics jumping and all that kind of good stuff, so thank you for that. I'm looking to push my YouTube channel on you guys at the moment, so if you go to youtube.com/DJForceX, that's DJFORCEX, looking to get subscribers. I put the podcast up on there the same time I put the podcast out for everyone on the platforms and things like that, and I'm looking to do some more visual content. I already started kind of doing bits last year with my 365 days of scratching, which is all on there, but also like product reviews and stuff like that for the DJ side of things. But I'm also looking to do more sort of like visual interviews, so looking to sort of maybe get people on webcams, or like once we get back to like gigs and stuff happening, and more in-person stuff where I can have a camera set up along with my microphone and all that kind of good stuff, but just have just a different format for you guys to listen to this or watch this in. From doing the interview with Mike and Ming, it kind of set a ball rolling in my head of actually having that facility set up in order to do interviews like this. So I'm going to keep with the usual podcast side of things, so the audio format is always going to be there, but I'm looking to do more visual things as I get more and more confident with having a camera on me, which I should be, because I was on the camera quite a lot as a kid, but that's a story for another time. And yeah, I just looking to push that. So if you are a YouTube account holder, please go to my YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. Yeah, you'll get like updates whenever I post a video or whatever, but at the moment I'm just looking to get those subscriber numbers up and get some of the viewership up as well, because they've been the ones that have been pushed on the YouTube format have got some nice little numbers next to them. But also, as a bonus, if you've never checked out my YouTube channel, you will see, or you will hear some of my old band stuff. I've uploaded like some old tracks, like demos and covers and stuff like that, so please check that out. There's one that's doing particularly well, our cover of Strange Love by Depeche Mode. That seems to be doing very well on the old streaming front. Well, I think it's added to a couple of playlists on YouTube, so that's probably why. But no, go check that out, and yeah, hit that subscribe button. But until then, this is Scott and me having a chat. Enjoy. On my show today, I have a very special guest. I have Scott from the band Local H. Welcome, Scott.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. Fair.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's not too early where you're at right now, is it?
No. Although these days, it kind of is. Like, I don't do anything before noon. And it kind of... I'm not proud of it. It's just the way that it's turned out these days.
Oh no, fair enough. It's I'm sort of sketchy on what kind of day it is anyway, just because they've all kind of molded into one. I have to keep checking with my wife what day it is, because she's working every day and I'm working as well, but it doesn't really like hit me. It's like actually a Thursday, so Yeah. But cool. No, thank you for doing this. I do appreciate your time with this and everything. Like I say, I'm a fan of the band. I've only ever caught you live once, and it was by complete fluke, because I've been a fan of you for ages. Like, we're talking probably about 10 years or so. And I lived in the States for a bit, and you guys were playing quite often in the area. I was in Tampa, St. Pete area, in Florida, and every time you guys came around, there was always something else going on that I couldn't put off. And you were playing like the local venues and stuff. I was like, I really want to see you guys.
Right.
And then I think it was like a couple of years ago, you toured with Alien Ant Farm and Soil in the UK. And I actually had an interview lined up with Soil on that show, so it was kind of like a last minute thing. Got to jump in, found out you guys were on the show, got there early, absolutely fucking fantastic.
Thanks.
I was so happy I got to see you guys. But no, it's really cool. Like I said, I'm a fan of the band and everything, and you guys released an album not long ago as well called Lifers.
Right.
How's that been for you during this unusual time?
It was weird. But I don't think we thought, let's delay it like some people have.
Yeah.
There was never that thought. It was just, we'd be, I don't know, on tour right now, actually, just starting if things had gone to plan. But I mean, putting out the record now just seemed like the right thing to do. I'm glad we had a record out, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's one of those times where I found that a lot of bands that have decided to go ahead with their release, I can only see sort of like, without the usual sort of promo of going out and playing shows and stuff, that people have more time to actually listen to the album and absorb it.
I suppose, and it's also, I don't want it to sound like it's doing your duty, but it's like, not shrinking from. So things haven't gone to plan. Things haven't gone to plan for anybody right now.
Yeah.
So, I think it's best for everybody to just get on with it and do what they can do.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why, this time for sort of someone like me in the sort of like, I say journalistic world, having the actual time to go through these like albums properly. Like, I mean, your guys' album I picked up anyway, because like I said, I'm a fan. But there's a lot of bands that I've spoken to that, I would have given their album a listen, but not a proper listen. Like, now I've got the time to actually like absorb what they're doing with it and everything. And when bands have delayed their sort of albums and stuff, I'm like, why? It's perfect time to release music. Just, get it out there for people to kind of absorb. And then once this whole shitstorm sort of, disappears, or not disappears, but kind of eases up, then get out there and play the shows, because then people will know more of the songs as well, which is always a battle. I mean, I don't know if it's yourself as a band, but, when you release an album, everyone wants the old stuff constantly.
Right.
And it's just sort of like, now you can properly absorb the album and actually prepare more of a live show to actually promote the music on that album, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, there's also the thing that you wonder if by the time you can go out and play, you wonder if anybody's going to care anymore. I mean, I understand, I get it, but it's just, I don't know. It's not ideal anyway you slice it, but
yeah.
But I think that people have needed something to do. I've needed something to do, and this has helped me have something to do in a lot of ways. So there you go. Yeah,
no, I was just like, well, what I know you're kind of got some live streams lined up and stuff like that. Is that how you've been kind of, obviously apart from doing interviews like this and everything for the press, but is that how you've kind of been promoting stuff and sort of keeping busy, if you will?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we've been making videos for songs on the record and doing all that kind of stuff, and that's gone into the promoting of the record. But as far as just, being locked up and, you know, knowing other people are going through the same thing, it just kind of like, you know, for a while there, like every day or every other day, you know, we just sort of learn a song, play it, and you know, go live and stream that. And then, you know, we had shows that we were doing and just stuff to sort of keep ourselves occupied and keep other people occupied in the same way. And also try to, you know, just sort of shine a light on friends of ours who own bars and music venues and try to, you know, keep them afloat and try to let people know what's going on with that. Because, you know, bars and music venues were the first places to close, and they'll be the last places to open.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that, I mean, a lot of people are struggling, but those are the people within our immediate sphere that we see struggling. And we've been trying to just highlight what they're going through, because it really sucks.
It does. There's a lot of like venues around where I live now, and they're struggling because they can't do anything. You know, there's not right. a revenue stream for them on that front. Right. And I've also got a lot of friends who are road crew as well. And again, that just got taken out for them, and they're struggling as well. And it's like within the sort of music sphere, those are the places, because once things start getting back to some kind of normality, they're like, and if those places aren't there anymore and those people aren't unfortunately available to do those things anymore, then
right.
it's not, you know, the music scene is going to take a bigger hit than it already is right now.
Right.
And it's
you
good
don't
that
know what it's good. Yeah, you don't know what it's going to look like. I mean, I don't know what it's going to look like when we go back on tour. I don't know if the clubs that we like to play are going to be there anymore. And, you know, the big places, they'll be okay. The places that are owned by the Live Nations and shit like that, they'll be fine. But, you know, I don't know about the small independent places that a band like us can play. I don't know what's going to happen.
No, because, I mean, you guys always struck me as like playing, I say the smaller venues, if you will. Obviously, on the UK tour, you played in London when I came to see you at one of the big venues there in Kentish Town. But is that something you kind of like to do? Do you prefer the smaller venues? Because obviously, as a two-piece, you kind of like have, it's quite deceptively sort of like big sounding, if you will, from like a two-piece group, which is what I absolutely love about you guys. Like just watching you guys just like flail around on stage, and there's two of you making an absolute just racket of music. But yeah, is it sort of like the independent venues, or I say independent venues, the smaller venues you like to play?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Yeah. You know, and there's a lot of fun in playing like big arenas, or, you know, like even football stadiums. You know, we did this thing a couple of years ago where we did some Metallica shows, and we're playing at these football stadiums. And it's ridiculous, and it's fun, and it's all that kind of stuff. But you know, like getting in a small club and like really losing yourself and just feeling that thing back and forth from people and being right next to them, like it's hard to it's hard. There's really no substitute. It's really hard. It's hard for me to lie and say that you know that isn't my favorite. It is.
Yeah, because I mean, you've always struck me as a band that kind of like the intimacy with the sort of sound, like with the sort of sound of your albums and stuff. It's all it's like you're in the room with you, if you will. Like it's always been quite raw, but it always feels like you want to be close to people, even when you're recording. I don't know if that's the name of yours, but that's what it kind of feels like to me. And the sort of like the raw power kind of rock and roll aspect of it as well. It was, you know, it was great to see you live finally, because it was like,
right,
you know, fuck, I can sing you, but
yeah, those are the shows I like. I like being in small clubs. I like seeing smaller shows. I don't like being miles away from the band. Some people like that. That's not really what I like. That's not what really got me into playing music. So I like being in a band like that. But, you know, let's face it, you know, we also play small shows because that's what we play. That's our lot in life is, you know, I mean, we're not Metallica. So we have to play these small independent venues because, you know, those are the waters we swim in. And I'm fine with that.
Cool.
But, you know, but it's not like we're doing anybody a favor by playing intimate venues, you know, that's where we play.
Cool. No, I was going to ask you about the Metallica shows as well. It's on my list here, but I was just sort of like, how did you, like, obviously you've already mentioned that being sort of generally far away from people wasn't really your kind of like, you know, cup of tea, to use an English phrase. But, you know, how did you guys adapt for that? Because I haven't seen any of the live footage from it, but being a two-piece and obviously the Metallica show, I would have thought it was a huge stage, like football stadium-wise. How did that sort of like, how did that feel? How did you sort of adapt your game, if you will?
Well, it's not that different, but it's more concentrated. Like, I think we're a really good opening band, and like we'll go out there and we will condense the set, and you know, it's fun to play for 40-45 minutes and just, you know, sort of, it's more of a breakneck pace. And we like doing that. It's a lot of fun and putting ourselves in different situations. But with the Metallica thing, you know, just being a fan of theirs for so long as I am, just growing up on those guys, you know, being so into them in high school, I was just intimidated. You know, I just couldn't get it. I couldn't get it out of my head. And, you know, also, you know, I know their fans are hardcore, and I just didn't want them to think we sucked. So I never got that out of my head. You know, there was never a point where I actually could relax. And maybe the last show in Chicago, I actually had a good time and relaxed. And by that point, it was the last show, so it was over. So when I finally got into the groove, the thing was over. But I just couldn't get out of my head. I couldn't. I never got the feeling where I could not believe it was happening. You know, every night I just felt like, whoa, what the fuck? So, yeah.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, let's have a chat about the album, if you don't mind. I mean, like I said earlier, it was called Lifers, and it was released. It was about a month ago now. A couple of weeks ago.
Man, I don't even know.
I haven't got the release date in front of me for some reason. April 10th. Oh, yeah, so it's almost month and a half. Let's go there. No, I really liked it. I really liked Sunday Best. I thought it was a great track. High, Wide and Stupid as well. That was great. I love the commentary in that track. I was wondering, tell us a bit more about it, like the sort of like underlying kind of like theme of the album, if you don't mind.
I think the theme sort of revealed itself on that record. And it was just this idea of people that we were working with. We were working with Steve Albini, and we had Juliana Hatfield on the record, and John Haggerty from Naked Ray Gun and Peg Boy, and we had Jay Robbins from Jawbox mix it, and it was just all these people that have made music in a really unassuming way, and made their life be about the music they make, and people that we've befriended over the years, and you know, people like John McCauley from Deer Tick is on the record, and just people that we looked up to, and so this idea of the record being called Lifers and sort of being about that just something that sort of happened. I mean, we didn't think of that when the record started, but then it was just like, oh, let's get this person to play on it, and let's do a couple of songs, or let's do a couple of days with Steve Albini. You know, it's just that kind of thing where just surrounding ourselves with people that we really respected, and that became the theme of the record. So that was something that we didn't plan going into it. It just kind of happened.
Just kind of happened. Cool. No, because I was just trying to sort of get from, obviously, from the sort of like the title of the album, calling it Lifers, and the artwork itself is pretty poignant. It's pretty straightforward. Like it's a lion. But yeah, no, it was just really cool. I was just like, I like the kind of combination of name and the picture, because it kind of really did speak, like, because obviously you guys have been going for quite a while, and like you say, you've got a bunch of people on the album, you work with a bunch of people with the album, and yeah, no, it just it's a good sort of like underlying theme, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, even the guy who did the artwork, Dan Marsden, he's been a friend of mine for a long time, and we'd never worked with him before, so there was a lot of people that we've known and have been around and hadn't really worked with before. And everybody, like right down to the art, it became this real collaboration and really getting the best out of us. And I like that, I mean, This is the first record since our first record that hasn't used that sort of Orkin Man logo that we've had since our second record. And that's a very deliberate thing. And I think that speaks a lot about the record, that it is different. It's not this assembly line type of thing. There's a lot of heart that was put into the record. Yeah. I mean, we try to do that with every record, but something about this record just clicked,
Yeah, no, there's a definite kind of, like I said, a bit of rawness to it. And it's just sort of got a bit more, I don't know, like you said, I mean, I think you said it's just got more feeling to it, if you will. Like some of the sort of like lyrical content and stuff like that I've kind of like dug into a little bit here and there. And it just sort of seems it's very sort of like, it kind of speaks of various like sort of current events, if you will, and stuff like that. And I was just sort of like, I just really liked it. It was just one of those ones. And then when you like, I like an album. If I like it, like initially from initial listening, I'll dig a little deeper, and then to sort of going in, and sort of finding little bits here and there from the lyrical sort of like content that you have on there. I haven't actually got written down. The only one I got in my head is the Twitter on the shitter thing, but it's from Highway and Stupid. But yeah, no, it was. It just sort of spoke really well of sort of current events, but I think because I'm of a sort of like older age and stuff as well, and it kind of like sort of like has that kind of feel for me as well. It kind of, that's why I think it had that kind of effect on me. So no, it's really cool, man. It's really cool.
I mean, we always take extra care with the lyrics, but this record we took a year off and just we had an initial session that produced 4 songs, and so the songs were like they were Valley of Snakes and Winter Western and Hold That Thought, and like the songs, we liked them so much and we thought they were so good and at such a high level that we took extra care from there to keep that bar up and to keep trying to not write anything that wasn't up to that bar. And we worked really hard and just took the songs apart when they weren't good enough and kept working on them rather than just like, oh, fuck it. It's just not working or, oh, just let it be what it is. There was never that point of just going, okay, that's good enough. It was always like, let's make it better. So there you go.
Cool. No, that's cool, man. Thank you. I've got a couple of questions left for you, if that's all right, and I can let you sort of get back to your day and stuff, if that's all right. So what I want to find out, it's a bit more sort of, it's about generally, well, it's straight up about you. What are your 3 albums that you could really pinpoint as your sort of like, if you were to sort of like go back on an origin story of yourself, if you will, what 3 albums would you say were the most pivotal in your sort of like musical kind of like career?
Maybe I don't know, Reckoning by REM, Master of Puppets by Metallica. And a record that really made a big impression on me, and I've been listening to a lot lately because of Memorial Day, is Pink Floyd's The Final Cut.
Nice.
And I know that's not a lot of people's favorite Pink Floyd record, and I don't even think it's my favorite Pink Floyd record anymore. But hearing that when I was a teenager and hearing the lyrics and the heart of the record and the humor of the record, like, it really made a big impression on me. And every time I listen to it, I go, oh yeah, I got a lot from this record.
Yeah. No, I mean, Pink Floyd, coming from the land of Pink Floyd, you kind of I kind of know them inside out, but The Final Cut that's a good album. Like no one's picked that album before. I usually get Dark Side of the Moon. That's the usual one I get.
well, I've gotten a lot from Dark Side of the Moon.
Yes.
And Metal, and I've gotten a lot from Metal.
Yeah.
And those records are great, but I mean, if I'm honest, the first time that they really pricked my ears up was Final Cut.
No, that's awesome. That's the kind of like album I want to find out, like the one that really kind of, because anyone can sort of say, Black Album, Nevermind, and all that kind of stuff, like banging them off like that. But no, even the REM album as well. That's a great one. Master of Puppets, again, Metallica are great. So.
Yeah, Master, that record was, again, just lyrically and just the sound of it and the sound of James's singing on that record. I mean, I love it. And I think it's a hooky record. And that's what when the Black Album came out, I was really kind of offended by this idea that they were finally writing hooky songs, because I was like, they're always hooky, and what are you talking about?
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, finally, Scott, what are your hobbies away from music? So when you're not doing stuff for Local H and things like that, what do you do to kind of like get away from it or unwind?
Well, this is why this has been a special pain in the ass, is I go see movies a lot. And I've realized that is kind of my hobby, is going to the movies. And I haven't been able to do that at all. And it's just not the same doing it at home. I'm not really interested in watching movies at home. So I mean, the other night we went out to the drive-in movie, and they're starting to have a little bit of a comeback because of all this. And it was great. And I forgot how much I enjoyed being out and watching a movie.
Awesome. Any particular movie that is your favorite, or are you just sort of like, you just like the experience of going out to the theater?
I mean, I like them all. I really do like them all. But yeah, it's just the thing of going to the theater. Okay. I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I've always preferred to watch a lot of films in the theater. Because like you say, at home you don't really get the same experience. But yeah, no, that's really, no, movies. That is a fine hobby. Do not worry about that. That's all good. Well, Scott,
it's a bit passive. I understand.
Oh no, that's all right. That's all good. It's all good. Don't worry about it. So, yeah, thank you for your time, man. I really do appreciate it. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you.
Yeah,
like I said, I've been a fan for a long time from all the way over here in England, and yeah, every time in the States, whenever I saw you playing on a local bill, I was like, I've got to go. But then something it was just always got in the way. I was like, oh, I'm never going to. And then it was just a total fluke of that Alien Ant Farm show. So, because it was a last minute.
Just the way it is.
Interview. Exactly. But I've got to see you, which was great, and I hope to see you guys again. You make it over to these shores again. I'm going to keep a closer eye out, and I'm a bit more flexible in my time these days. So,
yeah,
it's all good. So, cool, Scott. You have a fantastic rest of your day, mate. All right.
All right. You too. Thanks a lot.